In this tutorial, we'll introduce you to some of the key features of ModFit LT, including creating a new project, adding files to it, and setting up the processing options for doing auto analysis. We start by launching the program, which I've already done here, and then we'll go ahead and create a new project by clicking the New button on the Home tab. This is going to be a cell cycle project, and we'll call it Tutorial 1. It'll be created in our Projects folder, which is in your Documents ModFit LT location. And then one more thing we want to do here, we open the More button here, and we'll say, let's go ahead and copy the data files that we add into our project, so the project will actually have a copy of them locally. So I'll go ahead and say OK to this, and we get a blank report on the page. This panel opens up. This is where we'll see a list of files when we add them. This is where we can determine what happens to those files when we analyze them. And then this is our batch processing toolbar down here. Okay, so our next step is to add some files. So we'll do that by choosing Open FCS. Now, the files I'm going to analyze are examples that are shipped with ModFit LT 6. You'll find them in the samples folder of where you installed your software. So I've just multiple selected these four. I'll go ahead and click Open. Now, the files were added to our batch list. You can see that over here, and then the program automatically has read in the first one for us. Because this is a new project, we need to tell the program which measurement we want to analyze. So it has selected the correct measurement for us. It is the PI measurement that we want to analyze. So that's good. But let's add a gate, not so much to eliminate events, but just to give us another perspective on things. So by default, this is a forward scatter side scatter gate. I want to change this so that it's showing me PI on the x-axis and side scatter on the y. It's a very useful plot in understanding what your data is doing. And you can see the R1 gate is wide open here, so we're not actually eliminating events with this. Just visualization. And I'm going to click OK. So at this point now the program has read the file in. Here's our DNA histogram, our gate down toward the bottom of the report. As we mentioned before, we've got our list of files here, and this is where we want to turn our attention next, is what are we going to do with them. So we have a cell cycle type of project, which is going to perform an auto-analysis. Now, auto-analysis is pretty neat because when the file is read, ModFit LT will examine the peaks, their relative sizes and relative locations, and then it will select a model that's appropriate for that kind of distribution. And it's pretty good at detecting diploid samples, aneuploid samples, tetraploid samples. So really what we're left with is choices about what we want to get output-wise from this. We'll have it go ahead and save a report, which is the full analysis. We can reload the report and revisit the file. We can save a PDF. And there's some other graphic forms we can export here. I'm not going to enable those right now. Those are going to be saved into the project output folder. That's fine. I'm not going to have it do printing, but obviously you could do that here too. So we're ready to analyze the first file. So I'm going to use this Run button here. Click that. The program reads the first sample, selects the model based on the peaks, and then goes ahead and fits that. It turned out this is a one cell cycle. It's a diploid sample. Our results over here in this list. Let's add an element to this so that we can see the low frequency information better. I've just inserted a Y zoom graph, and now we can see here's our red peaks are the G0, G1, and the G2 and M for the diploid cycle. Then this hatched area here and here is the S phase connecting the two. To the left of the main peak here is some low-level debris being modeled with this component here. And above the cell cycle we see this green, light green component. This is the aggregate component, which is something that's specific to each sample that is loaded. And we can see there is some aggregation that was detected here. I'm going to go back and resave my project. When I do that, it is asking me, do I want to save an updated report template, which is exactly what I want to do. I want it to remember that I added this object to my report. Okay, so with that in place, let's analyze the next file. So the next sample is loaded. Program has looked at this and determined, no, this is not a diploid anymore. Now we have a tetraploid sample. With tetraploids, we have two cell cycles, a diploid in red, and an aneuploid, which has its G0, G1 peak in the same position as the diploid's G2M. So let's let the program auto-analyze the remaining two samples by clicking the Auto Advance button. Okay, and just like that, we have all four of our files analyzed. Reports have been generated, PDFs have been generated. The thing we haven't done is we haven't stored a database of results. And this is a good time to add that in, because you want to add your database fields when you're looking at one of your more complicated samples. In this case, the two cell cycles is perfect for what we want to do. So we'll go to the Edit tab. We'll choose the Database Wizard. We get a little welcome screen. We'll click Next. There's a database associated with our project. When we created it, it was created automatically, but it doesn't have any fields in it yet. So that's what we're going to add these fields to. We just click Finish, and as you can see here, 47 fields have been added to our database, and here we have a viewer that pops up with the fields added to it. The quickest way to repopulate this is to rerun these four files, since they're very quick to analyze. So I've reset my starting position to the first file. I'm just going to click Auto Advance, and we very quickly run through the files again, and this time we've now got our database results here with fields of information for all four of the files. So how do I go back and look at an analysis or a PDF that I had done for a previous sample? Well, the quickest way to do that is to just double click on the sample that you want to look at. So if we wanted to look at sample 1, I can double click and choose Open PDF. And because we actually analyzed this before, we have a PDF for it, and we can see that loads into your computer's default PDF handler. Similarly, if I double clicked on that and said I really want to reload the analysis report itself, I can choose that, and here we are back with ModFit LT showing us what it finished up with for that particular sample. That's a quick intro to auto analysis with ModFit LT.